this is the last Witch is Familiar story time for the Folk Witch. The Folk Witch is definitely tied in with a lot of Irish, Celtic, Scottish folk stories. There's probably a lot more in like Europe in general, where they talk about the wee folk, or there's gnomes and fairies. So it's very much those old stories that you would hear to learn your lessons from, and there's mischief about, and just to be careful, and all those lessons are wrapped up in a storytelling fashion. So I have always loved fairy tales and anything about fairy lore. So this is one that it was so fun to draw. This is the Folk Witch, and I chose a Scottish fold as the familiar, and it gives me such grandma vibes, because that's who I picture when I picture, for some reason, a folk witch. It's like this sweet old granny who's like, leave the milk out for the fairies so that they bring you good fortune, things like that. And that this is the guardian of the doorway between the world of the fae and the human world, so that those who don't see beyond don't get affected. So they are guardians, as they would say. And guardians with, like, I loved when I was drawing this, like, brick, kind of like this old broken down wall, but it's actually the gateway towards the other side. And you have some of the fae coming through, the little gnome, the fairies dancing on the toadstools and things like that. So this was one of my favorites to draw, just the detail and experimenting with drawing like castles and things like that. So this was really fun to transform it then into the notebook. And this one I leaned through, I was inspired more of like the rose, I was like a rose bush, the ivy, climbing roses, to choose a pink as the Folk Witch colorway. And I went with this like shooting stars kind of, and this was more of like a folk style moon and cup, so that's where I picked those elements out. And so this one is one of the books that I manufactured, and then I did the same with this notebook, and it was a darker pink, and then it was hard to see the contrast of the stars. So I have them in both these formats.